Hi guys, a fellow artist, Linda, got in touch with me and asked me to create a video painting some flowers similar to the ones from her garden. She kindly sent some photos through and these are what we will be painting today. I have decided to pair up the flowers, this purple one with the yellow and these two pink ones together. I am first going to get in a basic sketch of the flowers with a China marker so I can make sure the sizing and composition is good. I'm using a China marker so I can just go straight on to painting without having to fix my drawing. I am starting with these yellow flowers, picking a few of them to bring into my piece. I am sketching with a light hand and I'm holding the China marker in a way that gives me a little less control than a normal writing grip. This will help keep the sketch natural and light. I'm not going for a perfect representation here with the drawing or the painting. I am more after an expressive, unrefined interpretation. Now onto this purple flower, which I'm going to nestle in next to this bigger yellow flower. I'm going to have some of the petals come off the side. We want to avoid having everything contained within a box. Having them come off the edges has a freer feeling about it, which is important. I'm not going to go too detailed here, just a simple sketch so I know where everything is going. Now onto the next one, starting with this big purple flower, again having it come off the side of the canvas. And then nestling in the light pink flower just below, bringing in some of those flower buds and a couple of leaves to bring in a bit more interest into this piece. Alright, I am done with my sketch now and I'm heading on to creating a little bit of an expressive background for our flowers to sit on. We don't want them to just look stamped on there, and having a little bit going on behind them will help ground them within the piece. To start, I am brushing on a little water before I drop on some fluid acrylic paint. This colour is transparent red iron oxide. I'm not thinking too much about what I'm doing here, just trying to get some paint down. And just like with our sketch, we want to take our paint off the sides and places. Next, I reach for my alcohol bottle and use the dropper to drop a little here and there for some cool effects. I have stopped and dried the initial layer a little so it helps it to stay in place. I move on with a different colour. This colour is transparent brown iron oxide. When it comes to colour choices, I guess I have a few colours that I work with so often that I know go together, and these are the colours I tend to reach for when it comes to backgrounds. I understand the value in knowing what colour an artist is using, but to be honest, I don't think it's necessary, as choosing colour is largely intuitive, and I encourage you to trust your instinct, Play with different colour palettes and you will soon see which colours work well together and which ones you resonate with most. As for colour interpretation from a source, I honestly just guess and then edit the colour as I work through the painting. No colour recipes. You can't go wrong with neutral colours in the background of your piece, especially if the subjects are brighter and bolder in colour. I am blocking in these yellow flowers with some watered down yellow ochre. When I block in like this, I am picking a mid-tone colour that I see in the photo. Again, this can be edited as you go along, but gives us a good starting point to build from as we work on each flower. As you can see, I'm being very loose. I'm not worried about going outside of the lines here. It all helps in the end with a more expressive looking painting. This purple is watered down brilliant violet. Now I'm going to leave this one to dry whilst I start on this next piece. Here I am using some watered down quinacridone magenta. And using some fluorescent pink to block in this pink flower beneath. Flicking a little bit of what's left on my brush around the painting a little. This helps with expressiveness as well as bringing the colour that we're using out and around the piece, which helps with knitting the piece together. Coming back in with that fluid acrylic for a little more expression before we start to tighten this piece up. I have fully dried this now with a hairdryer to set all that in place, and now I can move on and start to build the form of the flowers. Working on this purple flower to start, I have out Permanent Brown Madder, Brilliant Violet, Savannah, Titanium White, and Blue Black Indigo. I intuitively pick these colours. I may add some different ones in as I mix colours, but these are what I will be popping onto my palette initially. I am bringing in the darker parts of the flower first. I'm looking at my source photo and mixing colours to match what I see, and bringing it through where I see those darker areas in the image. I'm heading in with more midtones now. I am looking at the form of the flower, the parts of the flower that make its petals unique, just starting to notice and replicate its basic structure. I am playing around with leaving some parts unpainted and seeing how it looks. I'm using a bigger brush here. This helps keep this loose and not too refined. I now switch to a small brush to bring in the little tips of the petals here and to bring in some of the smaller parts within the center of this flower. That is as far as I'm going to take this flower for now. I'm going to move on and get these other flowers up to the same level. Next is these yellow flowers, and I'm bringing some more savanna, yellow and olive green to the palette to start these. I'm first bringing in some yellow to brighten these flowers up. This yellow is also the base colour, so I'll be largely brightening these up from here, using the green to darken the centres. Most of these flowers I'm painting today don't naturally have a lot of contrast. They are quite soft coloured, which can be hard to make them stand out and pop. As artists though, we can pump up the colour and contrast as we wish to make them sing just the right amount while still staying true to the flower. Although this is a light yellow, I am being mindful to not go too light as I still need to apply highlights at the end and have them noticeable. I am working my way through the flower, matching colour value and tone as best I can, keeping in mind the stage I am at, being not details and highlights just yet. I have chosen the main yellow flower next to the purple one to be the one that has all the detail. The rest of these yellow flowers will remain very loose and abstracted. These yellow flowers were my favourite out of the 4 flowers to paint as they really allow me to be quite painterly with them. I found them lending well to my planting a brushstroke and leaving it, which is super fun. Now I have those two flowers up to the same level, I move on to the next piece, using the same idea and techniques. I'm using the colours I already have on my palette, mixing them together to create the shades I see in my source photo. Move your brush around as you need to create the brush strokes you are after. This flower's petals are really light, and so I'm going to come in here with white to help establish the form of the petals, and then once it's dried I will come over the white with a pink glaze. Ideally, I would have started these leaves before the flowers, but I did forget to attend to them. Never mind, I will start to bring them in now. I do want these leaves and buds to be super simple. I won't be adding too much detail to these. They are more there for colour difference and added interest. What builds form in anything is value. If you can get your values correct, your darkest darks, lightest lights, and all the variations in between in the right place, you will have a well-formed subject and it will look really good. I'm coming over this purple flower with a pinky orange glaze. I just want to tint parts of the petal. Do you see that ever so slight pink tinge on the purple flower's petals in the source? That is what I'm trying to bring in here. Now I'm starting to refine. I'm going to start bringing in more details and highlights.
yours to own. Through all the storms, I'm by your side. Through days of warmth, I'm by your side. Like the stars and the moon in the nighttime sky, I'm by your side. Walking in cold nights with your hand in mine, all wrapped up warm, sitting by the fire. This life is the best, living wild and free, with you there right next to me. Oh, no matter where we go, oh, my heart is yours to own. Through all the storms, I'm by your side. Through days of warmth, I'm by your side. Like the stars and the moon in the nighttime sky, I'm by your side.
I'm working to get this piece close to finished here now. I'm really upping the highlights and refining the details.
Through all the storms, I'm by your side. Through days of warmth, I'm by your side. Like the stars and the moon in the nighttime sky, I'm by your side.
A little expressive mark making always makes a piece feel more finished to me. I'm going to leave that one there for now, and we'll continue on this next piece, refining and adding in more details and highlights. Trying to emulate the curve of the petal with your brush really helps make your petals look less flat and more realistic. That square brush was not working well for this flower. The petal was starting to look too rigid. Switching the brush to a filbert, a rounded tip brush, makes all the difference. See? Filberts are a really good brush to use for flowers. Notice I am not covering the whole flower with each layer. We don't want to cover up the previous layers completely. We want to instead add on where it counts. I'm going to deepen the center of this flower using a glaze. A glaze is paint mixed with clear painting medium. It creates a transparent layer that helps add depth and richness in color. I use glazing a lot in my work. It is my favorite technique. Bringing that glaze through this second flower also. And now through this first piece too. Glazing is also really helpful to color correct and for building layers and depth in things like fur or feathers. You can do some lighter fur strokes, glaze it back, dry, then come in again with some lighter fur strokes, glaze it back, dry, repeat. You can take this as far as you like. I use this technique a lot when I was painting more hyper-realistic animals. See how that little bit of mark making just helped ground and balance the piece? It's these little things that can help a piece so much. I'm feeling the need to ramp up the expressiveness a little here. There needs to be a little bit more going on. That is much better. A little more thoughtful glazing and details to finish. And I'm going to leave it there. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, I would love you to subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you in the next video.